Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My fellow Christians, amani ya Mungu iwe juu yenu. Today we want to speak about judgment implies responsibility and moral, which I told you is our next episode of the day today. Today tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu for the blessing he has given to us, this opportunity. We say thank you. In the last day of earth history, God is calling man and women to judgment. Does God have standard of morality as basis for his final judgment? He does. God's laws is the basis of moral and the standard of judgment. That's what you should fix on your mind. That God's law is basis in morality and the standard of judgment. If you are a immorality, if you are a prostitute, you'll be judged according to your prostitution. If you are a righteous man, you'll be judged according to your righteousness. That's how God do his judgment. He does his judgment according to his rules, according to the way he do his judgment. Always God's judgment is the right judgment. There's no relying on one side or having some bribe. God does not like bribe. You cannot bribe God. God is just. Always he make the right justice, not like a system of world courts. Our courts they accept bribe. They can be bribed so that you can get justice, but that one is different with God's justice. The book of Revelation says you are responsible for your action, for the hour of his judgment has come. God's judgment will one day come when the day of judgment will reach. Everybody in this world will die. No remaining creature will live during the time of judgment of God. As we have been told in the books of God, when the Quran speak about it, say that the day of judgment will approach everybody anytime. Second, the Bible tells us back to the law of God, which God's eternal moral standard. The Apostle James, the brother of Jesus, put it this way: so speak, so as do as those who will be judged by the law of liberty. That's the law of God. If you will find it, James 2 verse 12. The entire law of God is law of liberty. Here are a few examples. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not kill. Exodus 20 verse 31, verse 13 is liberty, liberating. It preserves the sanctity of life. The seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery. Exodus 20 verse 14 preserve the sanctity of the family, and it protects the institution of marriage. And the eighth commandment, thou shalt not steal. It put this law of liberty. It protects our possession and our properties. These laws, they are laws of God. I have explained a few of them to you so that you might understand laws of God. These laws of God, we will be continue talking about them and how they are concerned to our life, how we should be responsible for our action, how we should be morally upright. If you follow these 10 commandments, you'll find out that you'll be a right guided man, and you will be a person who fear God, and also who fear God's ways and respect humanity the way God created us, so that we should love each other. In Jesus' time, he put them into two. That you should love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, or everything you have. Because Jesus knew that if you love, you cannot harm your neighbor. If you love, you cannot steal. If you love, you cannot kill. If you love, you cannot commit adultery. It protect the law that says you should not steal. It is God's law, which say especially it is law of possession, that you should care for your brother, your sister possession. This is especially true of the Sabbath commandment. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath, liberate us from bondage of work and toil that keep us enslaved to the world system. The Sabbath is more than any other day. Provide parents an opportunity to transmit moral values to their children. It creates atmosphere for the family, friends to recapture a spirituality in any age of secularism. These are the laws of God, that we should respect God's ways, how God does His things. We should also respect God's commandment, so that you can be God. You can be good human. Also, we should also respect Sabbath, because Sabbath nowadays people really ignore it. I really wonder how the way people nowadays hate Sabbath. Please, let's turn back and respect Sabbath day. Let's take Sabbath day as God has put us to recapture our spirituality, to know, so that we can rest, we can be physically healthy. Sabbath has a lot of many benefits. If you go to my first the clip about Sabbath day, we learn more about the Sabbath day, where I taught it. Because Sabbath day was meant to transmit moral values, to teach your children the way of God and rules of God, the way God wants us to live in this cosmos with our fellow human beings, with our fellow brothers and sisters who are our neighbors. We should live with them uprightly. My fellow brother, my fellow sister. The Sabbath is designed by God to recreate the Eden experience. God long for fellowship with His children, as loving parents anxiously await a phone call, a card, email from any of their treasured children. So God Himself longs for fellowship with us in days of eternity of Sabbath. Did you notice that God's last day message for humanity described as being carried by 3 angels in heaven in mid cries with a loud voice? Fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of God's judgment has come. Worship Him who made heaven and earth, the sea and the spring of water. Revelation 14 verse 17. This is the message of the day. May God bless you as we continue with our next episode about Sabbath speak, about what does Sabbath taught us to do, so that this let us not wait for phone call. Let's put our children to be rightly guided in the right path, in the right ways, and to avoid misbehavior upon our children, so that they can be good children who will help us a lot in the future and our society, to have a better society, not a misbehaving children. May God bless you as we continue with our next episode, which speak about Sabbath speak. What does Sabbath tell us? I want us to regain new things in our life. Okay? May God bless you as we continue with our next